Hi there. Thank you for joining me. I'm Andie Thrams, and I'm a painter and a book artist. Today, I'm going to share a bit about my Forest Prayer Flags project. This is home, the small riverside community of Coloma Lotus in California's Sierra Nevada foothills. These are some of the tools I use outdoors. The outdoors is my primary studio. I usually paint with watercolors, and I also use gouache and ink. A lot of my work explores biophilia, described by the late, beloved biologist E.O. Wilson as our deep tendency to love what is alive. This short video was filmed in April near our home when the poppies were in full bloom. You can see the American River in the canyon far below. I don't plan my paintings ahead of time. Instead, they are a spontaneous response to a particular place, a moment in time. This painting is October Moon and was painted in Yosemite Valley. I almost always work in forests. Sometimes I weave hand-lettered text into my paintings. Usually the words have to do with what is happening while I am painting, what I see and hear, and sometimes how I feel. My paintings are a form of a field journal. I also transform my work into one-of-a-kind handmade artist books. This is called Birdsong, Faraway Forest. And it focuses on the Pacific wren that you can see in this detail. Sometimes I go out for a few hours or a day, but the very best is when I'm able to go out for many days. This is a sea kayaking expedition on the west coast of Vancouver Island. It's a lush rainforest of giant trees with sandy beaches between the forest and the sea. Everything must fit into the kayak: food, sleeping bags, tent, and art supplies. And this is backpacking in Sequoia National Park, to a backcountry grove of giant sequoias where I've been painting for over 20 years. Listen for the song of the hermit thrush. When I backpack, the art supply kit and the projects have to be very small and lightweight. It's powerful to be immersed in wilderness for days or even weeks at a time. It can be a wonderful experience of biophilia. For a while now, though, my delight in wild places has become overshadowed by sadness. So many dead and dying trees. So much smoke and ash. So many fires. The days of pandemic isolation in early 2020 were times of deep despair for so many of us. Is this our mass unraveling? As an artist, as a human, I wanted to respond, but I felt very overwhelmed by the sadness and uncertainties of our times. I wanted to find a personal response of substance that was actually doable. I decided to use an art-making process to explore solastalgia, a word coined to describe personal grief resulting from habitat loss. The idea to make forest prayer flags arose. I wanted to gaze steadfastly into one aspect of the grief of our Anthropocene era by working in burned and green forests. I chose a somber palette in alignment with my emotions, and I designed a folding easel that I could carry into remote places. In addition to watercolors and gouache, I decided I would also draw and paint with found forest materials like tree sap, wildfire charcoal, and twigs dipped in ink. During the pandemic summer of 2020, as wildfires darkened skies throughout the West, I began painting forest prayer flags in Sequoia National Park's giant forest. Little did I know then that these very trees would be in the path of the 2021 KNP complex wildfire exactly 1 year later. My process is simple. I pack up my gear, I walk into the forest, I sit down on the ground. I meditate, I invoke connection to the energies of the forest, and I ask for their help. I pray that my work may carry blessings for the protection of all forest beings out into the world, and then I paint. I pause regularly and invite the full spectrum of emotions to arise. I sometimes cry. I usually paint alone, but sometimes others join me. This is the Nelder Grove of giant sequoias, where I've been painting for many years. And you can see it before and after the railroad fire. And this is Oregon's Willamette National Forest in October 2021. On the left is the lush rainforest of the Andrews Experimental Forest. The right-hand image shows painting in the wake of the 2020 Holiday Farm wildfire. You can see fire follower plants like fireweed returning beneath the charred, dead, standing, and fallen trees. Until recently, giant sequoias were considered nearly invincible to fire and insects. These are images from August 2021 in the Alder Creek Grove of giant sequoias that burned in the 2020 Castle Fire, part of the SQF complex megafire that killed thousands of giant sequoias. You can see the tall, dead, blackened sequoias towering high above very large burned sugar pine and white fir. It's a blackened forest as far as the eye can see, and it is the most devastating burn I have witnessed. Here's the questionnaire I submit to collaborating forest scientists so that I can weave awareness of contemporary science into my work. Each forest prayer flag shares a scientific concept about forests that I've learned through research and through my collaboration with scientists. This is the Wolverton Field Station in Sequoia National Park, where I have stayed while working on my project. Scientists also stay here while conducting research in the park. The ancient practice of hanging prayer flags outdoors originates in Southeast Asia. It is believed that winds carry blessings depicted on prayer flags over the landscape to all beings. To all beings. Paradoxically, inviting grief into my creative work has rekindled my feelings of hope and delight and biophilia. And best of all, sharing forest prayer flags seems to energize others too. I look forward to showing others, especially children, how to make their own forest prayer flags. My forest prayer flags have hung in recent art exhibitions, and more exhibitions and outdoor installations are planned. You can find out what's happening with my project by signing up for email list or following me on Instagram. I really hope to see you out there. My thanks to the groups and individuals who support this work, and especially to you. Thank you for joining me today. May the winds carry blessings of healing and resilience throughout the forest and beyond.